Like and subscribe. Hello, it's Charlie for the Great Recommender GYLO and ITBI. This is Jan from Definity explaining about CanFund. So it's technical. You might want to move on if this is not for you.
But a little bit about why we built CanFund. So on the next slide, please. So CanFund actually comes from Orbit. In Orbit, every user can create their own station. Alongside with each station, there is also an upgrader, which takes care of the life cycle of the station. And you can also link other canisters to the station for each user. So the station itself, as it is also a wallet, needs to top up itself to have enough cycles, but also needs to top up upgraders and potentially also the linked canisters. And this is exactly where CanFund was born, and as there was no Rust solution at that time, it was really developed as part of Orbit. And we also see there were other use cases outside of Orbit, so we decided to extract it to its own standalone library and open source it for everyone to use. It's not a fancy library with a UI and crazy features. It's really like a very lightweight, very customizable library that everyone can use if they have a similar use case, and should be fairly easy to plug it in. So on the next slide, please, there's a brief list of features what CanFund can do and can be configured into. So first of all, obviously, different funding strategies. So CanFund can, for each canister, configure different funding strategy. It can be based on minimum runtime, which is calculated from average consumption of the canister. It can also be based on a balance threshold, so whenever the cycle balance goes below, and it can also be periodically funded with a fixed amount of cycles every funding round. Next, there is a balance fetching method, so the way how CanFund fetches the cycle balance for each canister. So generally, the default way would be the management canister, but you can also generally configure any public endpoint on any canister on the network.